Hi, everybody. Full moon blessings to all of us. We need them right now. So many changes. We're here on the full moon Virgo, Pisces axis on the solar Pisces, on the full moon Virgo. And this is the time to really practice those service activities that you probably are already practicing, meditating, for instance, being of goodwill, right? All those things, no matter what's happening around us or even to us, and still raising the vibration every day, every minute, every breath, every thought, not getting caught up in the swirl and this windy night here in Woodland Hills. We just have huge winds going on, and I thought it was so perfect for the feeling of right now, you know. So I wonder how you're all doing, hoping you're all good, you know, and of course I mean that in the spiritual sense, because there's always drama in the life, right? There's always something going on that we're working with, struggling with, challenged by, you know, trying to create or produce in our life, right? There's always things like that. But I mean inside, how are you? How are you doing? And answering that in yourself a little right now while I'm asking, because I mean it at a deeper place. You know, where are you? How are you? How are you managing with these very fast moving, changing energies? So with the moon in Virgo, we have an opportunity to kind of regroup, recalibrate, organize ourselves, all those Virgo words. And happy birthday, Virgo, Hank, and Pisces, right? Yeah, and so many of you, Kathy, I can't see you, but I know you're here. My board goes only 49 people, so after that it goes to another page, so I can't see everybody that's here. So when you come in later, I don't see you, but the ones that are here in the beginning, you're on my screen, so I can see your faces. It's so nice, and thank you for keeping your video on, many of you that do. I really appreciate it. So what I'm calling this full moon is what's really happening. And I just gave that at Meditation Mounts full moon that I just came from. And I mean it in two senses of what's really happening, right? And what's really happening. And I'm going to share the chart just for a moment for the ones that know it, and just to give you a sense. This is how you learn, right? Here it is. So what we've got here is, why I'm calling it what's really happening is because of Saturn conjuncting the sun opposed the moon. And the nodes are here, and so we've got Saturn, Sun, Neptune all conjunct with the North Node opposing the moon, trining Uranus, sextiling Uranus. This is really powerful, actually amazingly dynamic full moon chart. It's really powerful. But Sun conjunct Saturn, it's exact, 22-23, is powerful to work with that because it's about reality. Facing reality, looking at reality, accepting reality. And the whole reality is changing, you know, every hour in a way. We're getting new realities to accept, right? But it's almost now the changing reality that's unpredictable, right? Is kind of predictable in that sense, right? So you can just say, okay, it's like when you invite 14 people to your house for dinner and you don't have enough food, or they just showed up, right? And you just sort of make do. You find everything you need, you get all the components, and you sort of make a feast somehow with whatever you've got on hand. It can be a celebration, right? It can be, being creative. And things are moving so much all the time that is the reality. Everything's moving so much, so fast all the time. And so you go, okay, everything's moving fast, and you start to work with that energy. So rather than keep being shocked by it, Oh my God, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Which is a little like that, right? It's like getting electrocuted every few seconds. You're like, oh my goodness, what is that going to do? We get going on that thought rather than being shocked. It's just a time of shock. So it's shocking. And so when you start thinking of it like that, you can work with the energy better. Well, with the moon in Virgo, it's all about working with energy as it is, making routines. Don't lose your routines, right? Work with them, figure out what your routines even are. If you've come off your routines, get back on them. Meditate, for instance. But it's also taking a walk, and it's also, all the things you do that keep you sound, because you want to be sound right now. You want to know where you are. And what I've been talking about recently quite a bit is keeping your alignment, right? And I've been talking about that in my classes and also in all the moons, that the alignment is everything. For me, there is nothing more important to me than my alignment. Nothing. No thing, no, way I am in the world, my personality, my thoughts, my alignment. That's what I use. That's how I navigate. That's how I know anything. That's where my intuition lives, right? And so that alignment, every time you meditate, you're reestablishing that alignment over and over until, no matter what's going on around you, the alignment stays intact, right? Like there's not a going unconscious. There's not a zoning out, right? There's not I'm just going to watch TV. And, but it doesn't mean you don't watch TV, but you can even watch TV in alignment. And what do you watch when you're in alignment? And what are the conclusions that you come to? Suddenly, everything becomes profound. Everything, right? Because why this is happening? Why is this in my eyes right now? Why am I seeing this right now? Why is that, license plate in front of me? Breathe. I saw that yesterday. It says breathe. I'm like, oh yeah, take a breath. Right? All those kinds of synchronistic things where a book is given to you, or you just remember a book that you had in the bookshelf that you hadn't thought of for a long time, and all of a sudden you pull it out. And it, with me, there's 2 books that I've had profound experiences with, well, many, but 2 that were almost like magical. And the first one was the I Ching, the yellow book, the old one. I'm trying to remember their names, but anyway, the yellow old one that came out in the 30s, I believe. I had that book for years. I had the Tao next to my bed, and then eventually I had the I Ching somehow. I had gotten that, and I'd looked at it, but I didn't get it, And then one day I was probably like 24. And I'd opened it many, many times and done the I Ching, And one day it was almost like it came alive. Like the words were coming out of the book into my head, where before it was I was reading the book, right? And I was trying to understand what it said. And it reversed. The book was reading me, it just flipped. And that book was the first book that ever happened to me that I knew of. Oh, I'll say it that way, because I think there were others actually. But that's the one I knew that happened because I was old enough to realize. And the other one was The Course in Miracles. Got that book 5 times as a gift. And it's like this thick, right? And it's got pages that are so thin. They're like, Bible pages, that thin paper. And I'd gotten that book 5 times, and I kept giving it away. Right when it came out, I got it. I got 3 in that first year when it came out. And after the 5th time, somehow, and that was probably around my Saturn return, around 29, I opened it up, 28 maybe, and it went, whoosh, and the book, whoosh, started coming to me. And many experiences happened with that book and me. I could tell you so many stories about that book. Now, all that means is we're always having little moments like that if we're awake to them. And I kept picking up the book, or the book kept picking me, right? all the blue books, the Alice Bailey books. I've gotten those from so many sources in my life. When I was 14, I had Alice Bailey books and reading them, People gave them to me. They came into my life, and that is part of consciousness, part of practice, part of your old soul that attracts your next step all the time. It's like it comes to you in dreams, it comes to you in books, it comes to you in a conversation, and everything starts to come alive. The sunset, right? Everything, what you're eating, how you're speaking, what you're thinking about. And so there's not like, I don't know how to call it, but it's like not being, lazy, mentally lazy, where we're just sort of going, not participating, with our life. We're sort of, I call it being parallel to our lives, like being in it all the way, full on in the life, being present as the way that we're in the life. So what are we present to? Everything, 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 inside, outside. What I'm thinking, what you're thinking, how your bodily condition, pain in your body, a headache, hunger, fullness, right? Just like all of the feelings of the physical body, of the emotional body. How are you? How am I? Mentally, what's moving in my mind? What's happening in my dreams? Right? All of that is information. All of that. And you can write those things down, you can interact that way, you can talk about it with someone, you can share it, you can just be pondering it in your own gentle awareness. But everything becomes something. So anybody that happens to call, right, or anyone that you're happening to talk to at the market, or that that you're having to interact with, at the bank, you are having a conscious relationship with everything you encounter. Your plants, your pets, right? Your neighbors, everything. And so Moon in Virgo is all about those practices of being present all the time, to keep centered, to know what centered even feels like, and know what how do you know what centered feels like unless you know what uncentered feels like, right? You have to know the two ends of that. And so, of course, we're really good at uncentered most of our lives, right? But then once you start to practice centered, you start to know that place by heart. You just go, shunk. You say the word centered and the self centers, right? You say the word alignment and the self aligns. You see the place you meditate every day and you align. Right? So you start to build habits, that's a Virgo word, you build habits that reinforce that presence, that alignment, that consciousness, that full awareness that you bring into everything you do. So whether it's you're writing a letter and you look at your own handwriting, how do you write? Oh, I'm stressed today, I can see it in my handwriting, and I can see when I'm freer. And everything becomes a way to gauge yourself, check yourself, be your own doctor in a sense, inner, outer, physical, emotional, mental healer. But you have to actually look at what is going on. And so I'm calling this moon the what's really happening moon, because we have to live in the reality that is. Right? And remember, I've been teaching this in the classes for some months too, that magic requires reality. Right? And I taught a whole lot about that. But the idea is that you can't magical think things into reality. It is based on the reality that the magic occurs from. So here we are in this reality, and a lot of people feeling helpless. I don't feel helpless. I feel like it matters. Everything that I'm thinking, that I'm adding a note to it, or I'm hurting something with my mind or my thinking or my action, right? So I don't feel helpless. I feel there's much to do, much to hold, much to hold for others, much to hope, much to raise the vibration, all the time with everything I'm interacting with, and especially in myself, right? And so that's that moon in Virgo are personal practices. What are you doing? What are your personal practices? What are your routines that you do? What are what keeps you centered? And really making an effort, and not even an effort, making a promise to yourself to keep that, to do that as service to everyone. That becomes your service, to be present. And so then there's a lot we can do. And we're in the middle of something. We're in the beginning of the middle of something. This has got an arc, and there is big karma playing out, and we're in it. And so what can we do, right? So first, organize yourself. That's where to start. The other thing I wrote down for the other title I was going to call this was The Devil's in the Details. Right? It's like, and I meant that sort of funnily, that it's very important to be precise. It's very important to pay attention to the littlest thing and the biggest thing, so that we actually are present to whatever's happening. I saw, and I'm going to teach about this at the meditation class, the Women's March and Women's International Day in France. And if you haven't seen that, you got to see that. It's so powerful. And Virgo is about the woman, the feminine, the divine feminine. And this is the time in our world that we need our women, and everyone's feminine, right? We all have masculine and feminine within us. But that developing empathy, compassion, holding together, building something that is together, that building a nest, like if you haven't seen the eagles up at Big Bear, they just had 3 eaglets that you can watch 24/7 on a camera. It's so amazing. You ask me if you haven't seen it, I'll send you the link. But it's just amazing to watch these eagles. They're just serious birds of prey. They're beautiful. So that work, right, to build a nest, to keep adding another stick. I want you to think about those things this month. And as we're at the full moon, this is a time where it's shining bright. So wherever the moon is in our life, it's shining on some part of your life. And astrologically, you would say it's about service and about practice and about routines and other things. But where it is in your chart, you always want to look. Today it would be you're looking for 24 degrees Virgo. That's where it's highlighted for you, this particular full moon. So it might be in your house of work, right? And that's where this Virgo energy needs to come. Or it might be in your house of your relationship, and that's where that Virgo energy is bright, where everything I'm saying is very important to be extra present to. So keeping our center and working with the reality, and rather than why is this happening? It is happening, right? Accepting the reality so that you can be creative to the reality, right? And I'll just drop in one more thought before we go into the meditation, and that is I teach about this all the time, and that is, A, B, this is A and this is B, right? And when we're on the line, I call this, when we're on the line of A and B, we're always in a polarization of some kind. And what happens with this A-B polarity is my side, your side, this side, that side, and it starts to move like a teeter-totter does. And it can get really extreme, right? It can get really extreme, which is what's happening in our world. And this base, the fulcrum, is like a pyramid. right? It's stable, super stable. It's got four corners. It's got a square in the bottom and a pyramid coming up. And then that teeter-totter, or that line, sits on top of that. And you want to be the fulcrum, be the center, so that you can hold this plane of this side, that side, right and wrong. You hold the center, and you practice holding that center so that you can talk to anybody, because it doesn't, that they might be completely opposite minded than you, and it doesn't matter, because it's still about love. It really is. And that's how the world changes, right? Is that willingness to understand, right? I always say, when I'm working with couples or people that are estranged from each other in some way, you can't be mad when you understand. You know, you can be, if you don't understand, you can be mad. But if you do understand, what's to be mad about? You just go, of course you did that. You always do that. That's how you are. You're the person that's always late. And I could get my feelings hurt about that, right? And feel like, you're late and you're disrespecting me, right? Or I can just know and not expect it and, bring a book, And so things are different when you understand than when we won't understand, because you're not the same as me. And we're not the same as each other. We're all different, and yet we're all interconnected. So and then finally, so there's the line, right? A, B, my side, your side, I'm right, you're wrong, right? You can keep doing this. This is Israel and Palestine. This is the old wars, right? That never end, the never-ending wars, the North and the South of America, just all these things that are happening, this polarization. And always, spiritually speaking, spiritual approach says higher ground. You've got to get to higher ground. Because even if you find the middle on the line, it won't hold. It will not hold, because it's on the line. It's going to be on the ride. So up, you hold up. So what is that, right? To hold for the highest good for everything that's on this line, that it can't be just this side, goes to heaven or something like that, or this side has the prize. It's all of us. And this is how you do it, not here. And most of us, we're taught to mediate, right? To stand in the middle of this angling. And there's a point to do that, of course. And I do that all the time, actually. I'm standing on the line, but I'm always holding up here. I'm always knowing the well-being of this couple, let's say, or knowing the well-being of this situation where it's polarized, as best as I'm able, which is, not perfect. I'm moving too, because we're all moving, right? But that you start to become aware of the fulcrum as your point of stability. And from that point of stability, it's easy to send a line of light up. So think of like a pyramid, and then like a ray of light, touching Venus or something, it's like, and there's, a lot of those pyramids were designed to do just that, right? To line up with stars. So as clocks, as calendars, right? So you take your place, right, in that stable foundation way, and then you send a line of light up, and you hold for the highest good of all. So that's what we're going to do in our meditation in a moment. I think that's a good place to take it in. So when you're ready to, you can, if you like to light a candle, you can, or you can use mine as yours. And this is symbolic, right? It just says, I'm creating sacred space. I'm creating an intentional sacred space. And even you seeing it does that too. And I'm creating a sacred space within my literal physical space, but also in my consciousness, because it's the light of your awareness that we're really lighting. We're lighting our own inner awareness. We're turning on that diamond consciousness within the heart of mind. So by lighting a candle, just as an example, it's symbolic of enlightenment, right? And your own inner light. So here we go. So be comfortable and find your center. Close your eyes. And breathing through the nose, if you can, to harmonize the body into this time and space, feeling yourself become present, fully present. Am I present? Ask yourself, am I present? And you know how you just know the answer to that? Am I present? Am I 80% present? Am I 5% present? Right? And you're sort of holding yourself in a Virgo sun, full moon kind of way, holding yourself accountable. Am I present? To what degree am I present? Practicing presence, practicing more and more presence. Can you imagine 100% presence? What that would feel like? That would be enlightenment. 100% presence, which translates as 100% now. Now, this breath. Now, this breath. And using your breath now, right? To be in this now. This is what Ram Dass said, right? Be here now. Be present. Your point of power is in the present with this reality that can create miracle, that does create miracle. Present in this now with this breath and feeling yourself organize into your heart for a moment. Breathing through your heart center, which is right in the center of the chest. Breathing through the heart center. Using this to ground yourself or your feet. But I'm suggesting the heart. It has a different quality about it. And just using your heart center to balance and gently become aware of all the other hearts here, all these other kindred hearts, all these lights in our own group today. And you recognize each other in a sense. Can you feel that? Eyes are closed, eyes are open, recognizing each other, recognizing yourself as part of this, recognizing me, recognizing each other. And it becomes interconnected, consciously interconnected. Because certainly we're connected right now. But conscious interconnection is different than unconscious interconnection. So we are consciously interconnecting as a group, as a living awareness from our heart. And from the heart, imagining in the heart center that there's like a flower here that is a blooming, opening flower of the heart. And from this heart, flower center, seeing a line of light, silvery blue light, moving straight up like this little filament of light moving into the head center. And the moment it touches the head center, it opens. And you take your seat in the head center, this established place, the pilot seat of yourself. And as you take your seat in the heart of the head center, the crown chakra opens. And this all happens just like that, fast. Heart, head, crown, open, and soul. And it makes this link up between those points effortlessly. It's already there, actually. You're just touching the points, remembering them, and allowing that to be conscious too. Conscious connection, conscious alignment, conscious alignment. And you become aware of the overriding presence of the soul. And today in this meditation, we'll use this mantra or affirmation or seed thought for a few minutes in the silence. And it goes like this today. I find my center. I know my center. I am centered. I find my center. I know my center. I am centered. I find my center. I know my center. I am centered. Om. And just stepping into that stillness, that perfect stillness. Centered. And then add this. I stand still in the center. I stand still in the center. I stand still in the peace. I stand still in the calm. And the more motion, noise, reaction there might be around me, the stiller I become. The stiller I become. So I said a lot of phrases in there. See which one stands out to work with as you move deeper into the silence now. More and more still. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. more and more still. And add this one more phrase. And I am meditating. From the center of this stillness, let this calm radiate from you as light. As you are more and more still, this radiance increases. Anything and everything that comes to your mind is touched by this light. And light to light, a transactional energy occurs. Blessing to blessing, light to light, correction, realignment, healing. Whether it be you and your body, or your awareness of someone or some condition. Touch the soul from your soul to the soul of that country, that person, that place. Contemplate for a moment that the United States of America has a soul. That India has a soul. That Mexico has a soul, uniquely. Light to light. And from your stillness, from your peace, from your calm, say a blessing for the world. Offer a blessing for the whole world. Now offer a blessing to someone you know. Offer this light. Soul to soul. then offer yourself a blessing. Soul to self. And receive it. And receive it. Receive it. Good. And when you're ready to, still in the stillness, let it stay with you. Get to know this place by heart. By heart. You could be at the middle of work, in the middle of a project, and everybody's talking, and you can still find this place, this center point. I am centered, and I am meditating. Until it starts to feel natural to transition out of this meditation. So much more to say about all of this these days. But you know, these meditations go up the next day on YouTube and also on SoundCloud, audio only, on YouTube audio recording movies. You can see it tomorrow, they'll be up. It's really powerful to meditate together in real time. Different. But it also works, of course, to meditate anytime. But I'm so happy that you're all here because the group is strong and it changes things. Just the fact that we're doing this, you know. The next full moon is going to be Friday, April 11th. And the next meditation class is going to be Thursday, March 27th. So in a couple of weeks from now. So I wish you all well, and I wish you peace, and I wish you that stillness that we just worked on, and that meditation is good to work with right now, so you can listen to it again, you know? Just to work with that energy as things are moving fast. And I want to say, peace be with you. I went to Catholic school. And also with you. They don't say that anymore. I went to a mass and they say something different, and it's very surprising. Anyway, peace be with you. As a thing, as a thing, peace be with you. Yeah. Love you all.